Tokyo, July 21, 2025. In the aftermath of a devastating electoral defeat for the Liberal Democratic Party (LDP) in the latest House of Councillors election, Prime Minister Shinzo Abe broke his silence with a message of humility and political recalibration. Speaking at a press conference held at the Prime Minister's office, Abe emphasized the need for constructive dialogue and signaled his willingness to collaborate with opposition parties to overcome growing public dissatisfaction and political gridlock. This rare olive branch comes amid intensifying scrutiny over the LDP's leadership, policy decisions, and failure to resonate with younger and urban voters. With key districts falling to opposition candidates, including in traditional LDP strongholds, Abe is now under pressure to reform not only his cabinet but also the inner workings of his party. Election defeat. A wake-up call for the LDP. The LDP's loss of its majority in the upper house has triggered a wave of soul-searching within Japan's ruling coalition. The election results mark one of the most significant political setbacks for the party in over a decade, with many blaming its rigid stance on constitutional revision, economic stagnation, and controversial social policies. Abe himself described the results as a strong message from the people, acknowledging that voter frustration stemmed not from a single issue but from a wider dissatisfaction with how the government has addressed inflation, aging population concerns, and political transparency. The people have spoken. We must listen seriously, Abe said, bowing deeply as he began his remarks. It is clear that we must regain trust. That begins with reaching out, not only to our coalition partners but across party lines. Focus shifts to party reforms and cabinet overhaul. Immediately following the election, speculation swirled over potential shakeups within the LDP. Abe confirmed that he is considering a full review of party leadership positions, suggesting that several senior LDP executives could be replaced in the coming weeks. The reshuffling may extend to key cabinet roles, including the ministers of finance, health, and internal affairs, areas where public dissatisfaction has been most acute. Notably, Finance Minister Taro Aso, who has long been seen as Abe's close ally, is rumored to be stepping down amid criticism over Japan's growing fiscal deficit and tepid wage growth. Political observers say Abe's readiness to reconfigure the cabinet is not only a tactical move to restore public confidence but also a chance to bring in fresh faces that can better appeal to voters disillusioned with the status quo. Opening the door to opposition dialogue. Perhaps the most surprising shift, however, was Abe's overture to the opposition. Historically known for his hardline political style and nationalistic tone, Abe's new rhetoric emphasizes unity, pragmatism, and compromise. We must find common ground. I believe there are policies, such as social welfare reform, disaster preparedness, and regional revitalization, on which we can work together with other parties, Abe stated. This change in tone may reflect growing public demand for cross-party cooperation. In a recent NHK poll, nearly 60% of respondents said they wanted the government to work more closely with the opposition to solve pressing national issues. The poll also showed a notable increase in support for centrist parties like the Constitutional Democratic Party (CDP) and Japan Innovation Party (Ishin no Kai), suggesting voters are seeking alternatives to the long-dominant LDP. Opposition response. Cautious but open. Leaders of opposition parties have responded cautiously to Abe's comments. CDP leader Kenta Izumi said he welcomed any genuine effort by the Prime Minister to seek common ground, but warned that trust could not be rebuilt overnight. The Prime Minister must do more than offer words, Izumi told reporters. He must act decisively to address the policies that have alienated the people. Ishin no Kai, which gained several seats in the upper house, issued a statement calling on Abe to abandon plans for constitutional revision, one of his most polarizing initiatives, and instead focus on economic recovery and regional inequality. Even the Japanese Communist Party, often at odds with Abe's administration, stated that while they remain skeptical, they would not oppose discussions on social programs and pension reform. Challenges ahead. A divided legislature. Despite Abe's conciliatory tone, the path forward remains uncertain. With a divided legislature, passing key legislation could prove challenging. The upper house now features a more fragmented political landscape, with minor parties holding crucial swing votes. This could lead to legislative gridlock unless Abe successfully negotiates cross-party alliances. Further complicating matters is the growing restlessness within the LDP itself. Younger lawmakers, alarmed by the party's failure to appeal to urban and first-time voters, are demanding a more progressive policy platform and better use of digital media to connect with constituents. Meanwhile, right-wing factions within the LDP, who remain loyal to Abe's more hawkish policies, have warned against straying too far from the party's conservative roots. This internal tug-of-war may influence Abe's decisions on appointments and policy priorities in the coming months. Looking ahead, can Abe rebuild? Abe, who returned to office for a historic third term, now faces perhaps the most challenging moment of his political career. His ability to balance party unity, respond to public sentiment, and forge strategic cooperation with opposition parties will determine whether his administration survives or collapses under pressure. Political analyst Rika Matsuda from the University of Tokyo remarked, "What we are witnessing is not just a political setback, but a turning point. Abe must evolve or risk being sidelined." In the coming weeks, all eyes will be on the cabinet reshuffle, which is expected to be announced before the extraordinary Diet session in early August. Whether this marks the beginning of a new era of inclusive governance, or simply a cosmetic change to delay deeper reform, remains to be seen. Conclusion: a test of leadership in transition. Prime Minister Abe's post-election response signals a significant departure from past rhetoric. The promise to find common ground with opposition parties may reflect not only strategic necessity but a growing realization that Japanese politics must move toward greater cooperation in a rapidly changing social landscape. With his legacy hanging in the balance, Abe must now deliver on his words, not only to preserve his political survival, but to restore a shaken nation's faith in its democratic institutions.